Welcome to Interviews from Quito. My name is Andy Sebastia. We're here today with Christoph Baumann, a German theater actor who has been active in Ecuador for the last 30 years. And he's been part of the cultural scene. And he's well known in South America for his acting, for his screenplays, with his TV work. And this is our guest today. How you doing, Christoph?
Fine.
Fantastic to have you here.
Yes, fine.
We're very excited that you're here with us. Christoph, when did you start acting? And how were you trained as an actor?
I started when I was 23 years old. I went to the Free University in Berlin, studying philosophy, sciences of theater, and sciences of the origin of religions. But then I looked at this book, Towards a Poor Theater, of Jerzy Grotowski, a famous Polish director. And I liked very much one of these phrases, which was like, theater is to reveal something which is beneath the surface. And I thought, instead of being a theoretic person in the university, put all the ideas and put all my visions of the world into practical things. And this was like the origin to study theater. So I went to the Lecoq School in Paris. Then I went to Berlin there was a Russian director, Vladimir Rotsianko. He had a group of voice and movement, combined dance, theater, singing. Great stuff for voice work. And then I did the Lee Strasberg School of Acting. There came a lot of Strasberg teachers came to Europe since 1981. And we had really good luck that Dominic Ifasi was one of the great teachers who came to Germany in the 80s, and I studied 3 years with him.
Very interesting. This is you doing the Strasberg method. That's very well known in the States, and many great actors have done that, like Marlon Brando and James Dean and all those great actors from Hollywood. What is the difference from the Russian type of acting, which is well known from the counterpart of the United States?
Mm-hmm. And I think Strasberg analyzed very well the work for film work, yeah, because you have this kind of surgeon-like work on very tiny parts of the role, and you will repeat a lot of times in front of a camera, and all what he articulated works very well for camera work. I think he took Stanislavski methods and put it in some of the work of him in modern terms, in a very, what's the American style, very practical approach to how you work on a character. But I have to say that as I have this German background, I lived 12 years in Berlin, saw all the big German theater directors working in Schaubühne in Berlin or something. I have this German theatrical background, which is work based a lot of words, the way you say words, and this great director's work. So one tries to combine your tradition with ideas we got from Lecoq's work, ideas you got from the work with Vladimir Rotsianko y otros of Strasberg works, and you make this kind of new mixture in yourself.
A new style of acting.
Yeah, because I think in Latin America you don't just follow a method, because here there are a lot of rich traditions which are good nutrition for actors' work. It's not just one method.
In Germany, you toured the country part of a theater company. Tell us about those early experiences.
Well, this was one of my key experiences. It was from just in 1982, 1983. I don't know if you remember, Americans wanted to employ Pershing rockets on German ground. This was a very critical moment in the Cold War, because the time when warning of a nuclear weapon assault between the States and and Russia was very tiny with these new rockets. So we felt there was an actual big danger of a new atomic war coming out of German soil. So we of the German ground. So we made a big big peace movement. There were millions of people, and we were a political theater company, Berliner company, which actually I went this year to Berlin. This company is still existing. Is straightforward political theater, addressing a lot of issues like property of water, and this time it was about civil disobedience. We did this, my first play as a professional actor where I worked in this company was about Daniel Berrigan, this civil disobedience during the Vietnam War. Second piece was about the Cuban crisis, seen from this new German perspective that there might occur a nuclear war because of the employment of these rockets. No? So my first entrance in theater was political.
One of the great things about it is that you met your wife in Germany, theater actor Tamara Navas. How did your life story begin with her?
Well, love story.
As always.
As always, love is so strong that it moves you between continents.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the reason why I'm here for the last 30 years now. I actually came to Ecuador in 1984, 30 years ago, and we got to know each other in one of the Strasbourg workshops. We worked together a scene. We discovered that we had been on the same college together in Germany without knowing each other, because she is has 1 year less than she's now 59, I'm 60, and when we met it was 12 years after going to school, and she speaks very good German, so I asked her, where did you learn your German? She said, in Bonn. Where? There, on Nikolaus Cusanos Gymnasium. And I said, wow, I went to the same school. When? And we discovered during 4 years we were on the same schoolyard without knowing each other. And 12 years later we got to know and fell in love, worked together in Berlin. She for some time was part of the Berliner theater company. We toured together. And when our first son, Gabriel, who is now a fairly well-known singer here in Germany, we're a music group. When he was on the way as a baby, in the 8th month with a big belly like this, we came in November '84 to Ecuador. It was just like, I think it's like this kind of trap where she said, come to get to know my country, and if you like it. So I said, look, if we can live on theater, I will stay. Let's do like a contract between each other for 2 years, and if we can work and live on theater, we might stay. And it went very well up to now. And I didn't know it was a sweet trap that I never will go back.
When you arrived in Ecuador in 1984,
yeah.
What was your first impression of this country?
I think it's quite. I think I needed 2 years to understand a little bit more about the culture. No, like this typical thing here in Quito, what they call sal quiteña, salt of Quito, which is a kind of humor that you read between lines and you read other significances in the sentence that the people speak. I didn't understand anything of it when I came. No. One of the first things was that the people are very, what is cordial, very felt from the heart.
Very friendly.
Very friendly, very open to me as a stranger. And I always felt like invited. They were very curious about you. They give you a special kind of attention as a foreigner. And I think there's a good relation to Germans. I think from Alexander von Humboldt, who was one of this kind of scientists who didn't so much take things away from a country, but gave a lot of identity to Ecuador in what he saw and wrote down. So I think since that time, Germans have a good relationships here in Ecuador. And on behalf of like the theater scene, there were not so many groups as now.
Mhm.
You could have 3-4 shows at night, but not more. And
And
now,
so you were teaching at the same time.
yeah, I started teaching, but because I didn't feel so sure to act 2 meters tall on a stage in the Andes,
Yeah.
so that is almost you're predestined for comic work, because people see this huge guy and thing, and if I'm standing beside Mosquero, which is a popular actor from here,
Uh-huh.
he is like 150 tall. So just entering these two very
It's
different.
like Abbott and Costello, the perfect team.
Yeah, yeah.
I seen some of the plays. Like he's a wonderful actor.
Yeah.
Hopefully, tell us about this great play that I saw a couple of months ago with my wife. We saw Hay Amores que Matan. This is your recent comedy that you staged with Tamara.
Yeah.
Who are the characters of the story?
But this is a clown play. I didn't do a lot of clown work. Clown is like this artistic genre of the circus clown, but there's a development to do this kind of work on the stage, tell stories, have this red nose on, and always when I put this red nose on, I can't talk. It's just gestures, and with my wife is the same. So we did a story about being together 30 years in a long-term relationship, and all the funny things which happen to us, and all the foolish stuff which happens between men and women when they're together for a long time and know each other very well. And the other thing was our daughter, Tia Camila, which she has a very good eye for theater. She directed us, so she knows, she knew us for 23 years when she did this direction work, and was very specific on the points of when we have fights, when we one doesn't want to understand, when one provokes the other. But everything was like material for doing a show, which was called "There Are Loves Who Kill You." No,
Mm-hmm.
that's the name of the show. No, the
Yeah.
Hay Amores que Matan, and it was a great experience. It was a great experience for us doing clown works without being clowns for a long time, because we're actors. There's always this saying, you don't have to act to be a good clown. No? To be a good clown, you have to be in the moment. Just live fully in the moment and take a lot of impulses which come from the audience to you.
And the most difficult thing is that you have to be silent for an hour and a half
Yeah.
and tell a story being silent, just with movements and your
Gestures.
facial expressions and the way you walk.
Yeah.
And you take this play being very young and you end up very old.
Yeah, right. And the characters you asked me for this were Eu,
Yeah.
which is the woman, and Pit
Yes.
is him, which it's just come out of this mumbling of words which which occurs around during the whole show, and sometimes I said Eu, and this was the name, and she said Pete.
That's only 2 words in the whole play.
Yeah, and it's really coming from when we get to know each other up to a fiction which is not and which will not occur in so many years ahead, that we are an old couple, no?
One of the fascinating things that I found in your work, doing some research, and I've been following your work for many years,
Okay.
that you're not only an actor, but you're also a director. Do you combine these 2 roles?
Yes. I think the best thing on the world is being on the stage and act and feel this live. You know, this as a musician, being live with an audience, and this kind of breathing together, and there's nothing which is tops this and is better than acting. But many things you can't do if you. I mean, I'm a teacher, I'm an actor, and I'm a director, and sometimes there's themes I love to work on, which not necessarily include me as an actor. So working as a director is a whole other work. You combine costume, music, the space, no, and the acting, and it's a very complete look on the world. And every play needs like to construct an imaginary world on its own, and that's something fascinating. It's really fascinating. So I did this work, Machos. I did Tok Tok, and some other plays with very good actors. Where really they inspire you, and you put on a whole show.
Yes. And some of the things you mentioned when you came to the interview is that you don't have a TV.
No.
And you've been very successful on a TV series in Ecuador. How was that experience?
Well, this started in the 90s. I had a comic show on theater, and the director of the director viewed a show of us and invited me to a television show. And he found this name, Aristoteles Beckenbauer, like the famous football player. It's a German technician who repairs fridges, refrigerators, and it was an instant success for the Ecuadorian public.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was not a typical German guy, a very anarchic type of character who invites the family, which is a family series. Saturday 8 o'clock was like prime time show for 4 years. And they loved this chaotic character who always he invites the family to do an adventure. It will finish in catastrophes. No? And I saw only the day we were criticizing our work in the Ecuavisa channel was this. I looked at the show because this not having a television set is like from my student time. I employed more time in reading, and now I must confess I'm surf on the internet. I read a lot of articles, political stuff, and about theater on the internet. So there's not so much time to look at the television again, and then we thought for our children. I think children can grow up more authentically if there is more time between parents and children, if they have more time to play, and they're
human
not
contact.
Yeah, and instead of sitting in front of a television set and staring.
4 hours and 4 hours.
Yeah. And my wife and I took this decision not to have a television set.
Christoph, what is the difference between performing in a theater stage and a movie set?
It's a big difference. Is not in the process of the creative work is not so much a difference, but being live on the stage, you have 1 hour or an hour and a half front of this audience, and it's like very organic. It's just one whole piece. But if you work from camera work, is like I said, is much more surgeon style, that you can sculpture moments in another way because of a lot of repetition of short sequences. And I love that. I really, it's a good work for an actor to analyze in smaller bits of what is your character, no? Mm-hmm. But I think our basis is the theater, is the stage. The stage is where you're on your own. It's your show. You're independent. You don't depend on anybody but the audience, no?
Tell us what are the challenges that you have faced as a theater actor in Ecuador?
Oh, there are a lot of it. I mean, we did this big tour, which was called Tablas sobre Ruedas, Theater on Wheels, 2010, 2011, and together with the Minister of Culture of Ecuador, and we toured 60 villages, towns, villages, small. How would you say, very tiny villages. We had a truck with a stage, lights, and sound equipment, and 10 people, most of them young people, The truck driver, my wife, and me, we were the oldest people, and the rest were young people, like around 25 years old, doing 3 different kind of shows. There were this Ecuadorian tales from the Amazon jungle and from High Sierra, and a German show adapted to this reality, which was Springtime Awakening of Wedekind. And we did this show mostly for young audiences in schools and communal houses in these villages, addressing this getting into puberty, suicide between young people, abortion. There are a lot of themes because they were when their hormones are working so fast in puberty, you get in a lot of troubles with the adults, with yourself, with other people, and this play was very successful. So, back to your question, we went to all these towns and audiences which never saw theater in their life, and they're not and there's not like a kind of how do I appreciate the theater play. In the middle of the play, somebody comes to sell ice cream, and
in the moment.
In the moment, there are a lot of noises all around. People comment the play, which I really love in alta voz, no,
Yeah.
and
a lot of voice.
Yeah, like in the old Commedia dell'arte time, no, and. But it was a great project to get to know Ecuador, like they say here, tierra adentro, like
deep in the forest, deep
in
in the land.
yeah. And I know, on the other hand, for the young people, the young actors in our group, they got to see the country, they got to see the reality of this country, which is multi-diverse, and you have to adapt to any kind of circumstances. We bit the dust on the streets, and we worked in places which, like in one time, our dressing room was in a big kitchen of a college. Sometimes they give you some strange kind of setting to change yourself. You're not sure is our stuff is secure or not, just you had to adapt to do your creative work in different kind of circumstances. I think that's a great experience for any actor. You're not. It's a little bit different than in Germany, where you have more tradition and people have already the artist you treat with several basic conditions, no? So here you have to create the conditions to work.
With all this new technology, Christoph, like available for the audience, like cable, internet, TV,
Okay.
Are people still interested in theater, and why?
Theater is always in crisis, I think, because it's a part of our existence. There is a crisis of life which nurtures our performances, but in no other setting you get this live experience like in theater. You have an actor transforming in front of you and living through a role, a whole play, in an hour and a half in front of you, and this is a live human communication type of stuff, which no iPhone, no kind of very well done film or television show will give you. No, there's a different kind of experience. There are always people who look on this kind of more how would you say? It's like an archetype being an actor in theater. Really, technology is not so important, no. But it's this human kind of communication. It's reflection on human life, front of an audience, on all the, like I said in the beginning, what is beneath the surface. If you look at a person, at a character, what can you reveal in front of an audience? And I think it gets to a big impression into the audience when the theater work is well done. As well, it makes you very angry if it's not well done.
Or people come or people don't come.
Oh, yeah, sure, no. But obviously, we have a lot more competition now because this is internet competition. There's so many new technologies which compete at the hour we're doing our performances, 8 o'clock at night, and give the audience a lot of more options to look. No? So you have to gain your public, and sometimes doing television work or doing internet work, people say, I would like to see him live, this actor which I know from the television show. No? So there's some benefit you can draw from it. No?
Christoph, for a final question, what is your advice would you give to a young actor?
Well, I think the whole acting stuff, the feeling you will be an actor or an actress, that you receive in your life kind of a call inside, that you see transformation, telling stories, life. There's a big tradition behind you from the beginning of humanity. I would just say it's a question of, there's a lot of question of faith and of conviction of what is your life as an artist about.
Christoph, like being in the moment, I really enjoyed this interview.
Okay.
We're very thankful that you come and join us here.
Thank you, Andy.
Interviews from Quito.
Yeah.
And we wish you the best.
Thank you.
We wish you the best. This has been Christoph Baumann, fantastic actor, drama teacher, and film director in Ecuador. My name is Andy Sebastia. We'll see you next time.